Well, that's certainly one way to travel. Arc, physics at its finest right there. I guess gravity is optional for some creatures. Hi, I'm Willow, and today we will be continuing with our Creature Spotlight series, going over the pros and cons of life with a Rhyniognatha, deciding if they are really a good fit for me, and possibly even a good fit for you. Hang around and we'll go over the taming process, all the good things that I could research on them online, and the bad. Plus, my honest opinion of if I think that it's worth it to tame these guys. For this episode, I was not going to do it alone. My friend Tyrannus came to lend me a hand with this tame. And with that said, let's discuss the preparation. Before you even think about taming a Rhyniognatha, you are going to need to do a few things. First up, you are absolutely going to need a Rhyniognatha pheromone. You get this by finding and defeating male Rhyniognatha. That's what we're doing in the background here. Going around trying to find some pheromones. Next, you need a suitable host for the Rhyniognatha to impregnate. This is absolutely important. You want a dino with a high drag weight. We chose a Bronto because they're relatively easier to tame compared to, say, a Giga. But a Giga would also work. The higher the drag weight, the better the final tame will be. And this host is not just going to stand around looking beautiful, though I'm sure it will. It's also going to have some cravings. Just like imprinting on a baby dino, but with a bit of a stricter timer. You'll need to prepare for those, so I'll put a list of common cravings on the screen for you to see. Make sure that you have these items with you and pre-made and ready to go when your host is wanting a craving. You'll also need a reliable way to lower the Rhyniognatha's health without accidentally killing it. Having a good weapon for damage like a long neck rifle or a shotgun is awesome for this. You'll see in our video that we actually don't use weapons. We just didn't want to take the chances on killing it. Before you actually start combat with your Rhynio, also make sure that you take a moment to clear the area where you plan to bring the Rhynio and your host. The last thing that you want is another wild dino interfering with your tame. Okay, so this is actually the footage of my second Rhynio taming. So my Rhynio impregnated my first Bronto, and then it ran off and it didn't go very far. It just went here on the beach, and that's why you see this Rhynio not in the swamp where, it typically would be. So we're going to drag him back to where the Bronto is. Yep, still back there. I was a little concerned by that, but yeah, he's already shooting me. And I am a little bit concerned that he might keep aggro on my Pteranodon instead of on the Bronto, so I'm going to hop off here. And I am actually going to try to grab my Pteranodon. There you go. And all of the threat should now be on the Bronto. Now it's just the Bronto and Tyrannus battling. We'll see. Well, I mean, we know who wins, right? Like, the video wouldn't be up showing you the tame if we didn't complete the tame. Anyway, I did briefly consider using a magnifying glass on this Rhynio, but it never actually gets low enough on the ground for me to scope it good. I didn't want it to get too low on health and accidentally kill it. The percentage of health before it will impregnate is 10%, and it is really easy to accidentally kill your Rhynio getting it down to that 10% mark. I decided not to pull out any weapons at this point. Third attempt at this Rhynio, this particular one, we did accidentally kill it. So, I mean, it's better if you're with a partner that's also doing damage to the rhino, that you're very careful about how much damage is going out, because you don't want it to be, you know, an accident, and then you'd be truly disappointed. Anyway, there is the impregnation. And then it flies off into the woods. Okay, so here you see 2 timers on the Bronto, which are the overall incubation timer, which is the entire process. And underneath of it, it has the individual craving timers. Your host will have 5 cravings, and you will need to fulfill them before that main incubation timer runs out. Each craving has its own very short individual timer, and that's what you see on the bottom there. You have to kind of be fast. There is no time to gather or craft items once the craving appears. All of your materials should be ready beforehand to go. Here, Tyrannus is running out with the first craving. Once the Bronto is showing what it wants, instead of just showing the timer, you need to feed them the craving of their choice. So I want to take my own turn feeding the Bronto, and it looks like his craving this time is a Carcharodontosaurus egg. So I'm going to go grab my egg out of the refrigerator. All you have to do is make sure it's in your inventory. You do not have to put it in your 0 slot. The radial menu pops up, and you just select it in the radial menu, and then your timer resets. This is the last craving for our Bronto, so Tyrannus has called out to me that the craving is for honey, and I'm on my way back to give it, and there you go. We did it with just a couple of seconds left to spare. I mean, it always does seem to be really close at the end. All right, so our Bronto dies. Don't be surprised, guys. The host is going to die forever. And out pops our baby angel. Look at it. It's adorable. And here are our 2 baby Rhyniognatha's. The baby immediately consumes the host corpse. It is sad, but yes, your host is now gone forever. But its life is restored in the birth of your new baby. It's just the circle of life. From this point on, they're just like any other baby in ARK. They'll have imprint timers that you need to hit for those stat bonuses. So once your little angel rhino is all grown up, you've got yourself a serious powerhouse. But after going through all of that trouble, the intense taming, the cravings, even losing my Bronto, was all of that effort really worth it? Let's break down the pros and cons of having a Rhyniognatha based on what I researched, and more importantly, on what I've learned from having a Rhyniognatha of my own. The first pro that I would like to go over is that it is a great carrier/resource mover. This is probably its biggest claim to fame. It can pick up huge creatures like Rexes and Spinos. It can also pick up large structures like vaults and industrial forges. However, be aware that the Rhynio's weight limit does apply to carried structures and their contents. If the combined weight exceeds its capacity, it will become encumbered. This makes it a great option for moving base components, but be careful with weight management. The second pro I'd like to discuss is its incredible versatile mobility. It has exceptional water mobility. It can swim very fast, skate on the water's surface, and it can dive underwater with excellent oxygen stats. The third pro I'd like to go over is that it is a pretty good travel partner. I mean, for general travel around the map, it is quite quick, making cross the map journeys a lot faster, especially if you were considering riding an RG. The last thing I would like to go over is that it is pretty formidable in combat. The Rhynio has a protective resin armor ability, but it has been nerfed since ASE. It can also shoot various resin projectiles from its tail, and it has bombs that create slowing pools on the ground. Plus, players can use weapons from its saddle. I mean, that's a pretty good pro. So then let's discuss the cons of the Rhynio. The biggest con for the Rhynio is that it is a pretty resource intensive tame. It requires sacrificing a specific tamed host that dies and doesn't come back. I mean, you also have to obtain a pheromone from the male Rhynio that you also have to kill. The impregnation mechanics and the demand for the cravings and the strict timers, I don't know. This tame is pretty intense. The second con is that while it can pick up large creatures and structures, its flight speed is significantly reduced. I cannot be for sure, but I think it's like 50%. When you're carrying something and you're going at half speed, that really sucks. So that makes long distance hauling really slow. Another con is the resin consumption. Literally everything this guy does consumes resin. So like, you better be prepared to have a well-stocked supply of sap. Another con is that it has no traditional breeding. You cannot breed them, you cannot stack mutations. And I mean, I like to do all of that. So then here we are. Is it worth it? My overall impression is that the Rhyniognatha is absolutely worth the trouble. Yes, it is a lot of trouble to tame, but in my opinion, the Rhynio is an excellent tame that completely overcomes the struggle for getting those resources and dealing with the complex process. Would I recommend this tame to other people? Hands down, absolutely. It's an extremely fast flyer. I think that it's faster than a pteranodon when speed flying, though I would have to double check that to be sure, so don't hold me accountable for that statement. It also is a very good swimmer. No, it's not the best swimmer, and no, it's not meant for swimming, but it is good, and it can skate on water, which I think is pretty awesome. It has a lot of abilities that I personally like. But my favorite ability for the Rhynio, my absolute favorite, is its ability to pick up larger creatures like Rexes or Spinos. I just love having the ability to pick up that Rex and then drop it directly into a taming pen. It's not that other creatures can't do that with smaller dinos. It's not anything super impressive, but the Rhynio is the only one that can pick up the really large creatures. And it makes those tames a lot easier than running around the forest with a Rex chasing you, or trying to get a Rex to go up a ramp, or whatever taming method that you're trying. It's just so much easier to have a Rhynio that picks it up and drops it in the pen, and that is what makes them my favorite. But I do love all things about the Rhynio. And there you have it. That's my take on the Rhyniognatha. This video is actually a viewer suggestion, so I want to give a big shout out to them for the great idea. I truly hope that this spotlight helps you decide if this particular tame is a good fit for you in your own ARK adventures. If you enjoyed watching today, please remember to like this video and subscribe for more ARK content. We've got more creature spotlights coming up. We're always working on new ARK builds, and our Extinction Let's Play series is still going strong. If there is anything else that you would like to see, or perhaps another creature spotlight suggestion that you want me to cover, please feel free to leave it in the comments below. And as always, if you took time out of your day today to come and watch me play ARK, then you are amazing, and I hope to see you in the next one.